Welcome to the final daily vlog here at Moratoglu Tennis Academy, where I've been preparing for some 15k tournaments in Antalya, the first of which you will see this Sunday. This day was super action packed. I even played against a top 100 junior player, so watch to the end of the video to find out what happened. Now let's jump straight in. Right, so the day started off with fitness at 9 o'clock in the morning. We had a big session with the 4 boys and we were doing strength of the lower body, really trying to work on explosiveness and power. We started off with a few primers which Vasek was giving us, just body weight stuff mainly to start with, but working on being explosive, powerful. We then went to start with the deadlift. I was working with Pablo and we did a contrast exercise where we were doing deadlift for 5 reps and then doing 5 jumps onto the box with weight and without weight. We then worked to some RDLs and some ball throws, as well as some side lunges with this band to work the adductor as well, which is super important in tennis, especially when you're sliding on the clay. It was then time to jump to the first session of the day. I was playing with Nikolai, who's actually a top 100 junior ITF player, so I knew it was going to be a great session. I knew I'd have 2 sessions with him, so this first session we said was going to be more drilling and hitting based, a few kind of scenario points, and then in the afternoon we'd go into just playing a kind of a full set or a full match. At this point during the week I was pretty fatigued, I have to say, from all of the training that I'd been doing, because it was, a higher volume than I was usually doing, but I was enjoying myself, so I knew that this first session would be kind of finding my feet and I'd have to really dig deep in the second session playing some points. He got a lot of effortless power with his strokes. You can see he's got a really nice technique. The ball's really moving well off his strings. He's got a really nice backhand as well. He got a lot of depth and a lot of power with his backhand, and that was definitely something that I was saw as a weapon on his side. We were basically just going kind of cross court, and one of us was switching down the line in these kind of points here. I think it was actually 2 cross 1 line. During the session I thought that I was developing a much better depth than I usually was, and I was also just being more consistent. Obviously you only see part of the training sessions, and a lot of the sessions that I keep are the ones where I'm making the most balls, but I do also miss quite a few, and so I think that the consistency was definitely increasing as compared to the beginning of the week, which is only natural. Here we've got Ashley and Chris when we were taking a break, having a little slice battle cross. Who's going to take the win? UK versus France. It was a lot of fun. Ashley managed to take it. We then worked into some volleys. I think I was volleying really well this week, and I felt really fluid. I was looking forward to playing some doubles in Antalya, which I'm at now. I'm not going to tell you how it went, but something to look forward to. I was working on the volley on kind of coming forwards and staying low. So starting around the service box and slowly working my way in towards the net, where obviously your reaction time is going to be shorter and you're kind of going for more of a put away volley. We then warmed up some serves each, just in the crosses, and we were planning to go into some more conditioned points, which was basically serve obviously going cross. The first ball has to go cross, the second ball goes line, and then the point's live. So as you can see Nikolai there going line, now the point's open, the point's live. This is basically just to work on taking the return, being consistent with the return, and then the other player trying to open up and be aggressive off that kind of first ball and going line with it. But we both served and did this on both sides. I think we had some really good points from it. Obviously in some of the scenarios it's obviously not the most realistic to be going cross or going line, but it's obviously part of the drill, so you just kind of work with what you've got really, and there's always stuff that's going to be out of your control in the match, so it's quite good to try and just be reactive to your opponent on that first ball, even though you know where he's going, and then try and hustle and find a way of winning the point. Also guys, I just wanted to quickly say that only a small percentage of you that watch our videos on the channel are actually subscribed. So go down there and check if you're subscribed. It really helps to support the channel. And now, let's get back to the video.
Now once that session was done, it was obviously time to have lunch. Now straight after lunch, we managed to hit with the Kosuke brothers. Now these are some brothers that are big on Instagram. They come from Japan. They were at the Moritoglu Academy for 2 weeks. So it was great with me and Ashley to hit with them. I was actually playing with the Sabre racket. I think they are 7 and 9 years old, if I'm not mistaken. I have to say though, they hit the ball extremely cleanly. For how young they are, they've got amazing technique. And so it'll be interesting to see how they progress and develop over the next few years. Maybe I'll see them soon on the tour. So the second session was all about points. We just played a full-on match. We weren't able to record all of the points, so it was slightly sporadic in terms of the games that were actually filmed, so it's quite tough to put together a score line. I'm going to tell you how I did in the set at the end, but hopefully you can watch some of the points and enjoy some of the clay court tennis that we were playing. Second set was a really fought battle between the two of us. I really felt like I was striking the ball very, very well and beginning to come into my element at the end of the week here at Moritoglu towards the end of this session.
They don't wanna look when the cops out. They only wanna look when the top down Ivy League grad from a high school dropout. Show up, show down.
You also see me coming into the net quite a lot. I was working on just trying to be aggressive, and I think it was definitely working. I think from the baseline, he had some very, very heavy ground strokes, a solid backhand as well, so really managed to get me on the stretch. So the more I was coming in, I felt comfortable there to take time away from him, and also to kind of get the ball off my, my backhand a little bit more onto more of my strength, which is, my forehand and my volleys. Now playing against the kind of top 100 junior player, makes you realise how good these guys really are. This player was 2006, so my brother's age. So I think that means he was kind of 17 years old, if I'm not mistaken. So the way he plays is really, really strong. He's got big weapons, forehand. He's got a very, very strong backhand. I'd say his backhand was probably stronger than his forehand. He really had a very, very nice technique. I think one of the areas that he could work on a little bit was coming forwards, coming to the net. That was the only really weakness I saw kind of in his game. But obviously on a clay court, that's not going to happen loads. And of course, I only played with him for 2 sessions, so I can't really judge that based on 1 or 2 sessions. That was the only thing that kind of stood out to me. But very, very strong serve, hitting a lot of aces, and I was really struggling to get the correct depth for my returns for him not to be aggressive and just destroy the ball in the point. Stepping onto the forehand, really pushing me back behind the baseline, as you can see, and not being afraid to take time away. That's one of the things when I played some other junior players. I really like to be aggressive, a bit like Alcaraz, kind of step in, really dominate the point. That's also kind of how I like to play a little bit more. So I'm also good on the defense, but where I win most of the points is like this, trying to step in, take the ball early, and take time away. I did end up losing the match. I really can't remember exactly the score. I think it was definitely 6-4 or 7-5 in the second set. But it was a really, really good battle between two of us. I really enjoyed playing it, and I think it really kind of capped off a great week of training, because I think I played really well. Despite the result, it's just a training session. You move on. After the session, I watched a bit of Jules Marie playing, another tennis player that you guys may know. I also did some arm strength testing, which is basically me working with Daz on measuring my arm strength post-operation after session, so measuring the fatigue level to to see after the session, is my arm as strong as before the session. You ideally want to have 90% of your strength after, as you did before. I'm not quite there yet. I think I'm in the 80s, so I need to work towards, building a stronger arm overall so that I don't get fatigued during the matches and begin to, hit weaker serves and feel like I'm really struggling on that strength side. To cap off the day, it was time for me and Ashley to go in the cold plunge. This was basically 15 times we'd have to alternate between the 40-degree water and the 10-degree water, which was super cold. It took a little bit of convincing for Ashley, but we managed to get it done. The toughest part here was actually getting into the water to begin with, because once you're in there, it's not too bad, and just trying to find a way of channeling your mind to think about some other thoughts. And obviously when you get in the hot water, it's really, really nice and you never want to leave. This is obviously great for recovery. Vasoconstriction and vasodilation of the blood vessels is going to mean that blood's rushing into your muscles and out of your muscles really, really quickly, which is going to allow a lot of recovery, because that new blood's going to allow to supply oxygen to your muscles. And you feel really, really, really good afterwards. And I think overall it capped off a great training week.
One of the things I enjoyed the most about this week was being able to get used to the clay court, playing and hitting lots of balls. I think I played about 12 and a half hours in 5 days, which is a lot on my body. So physically I was struggling towards the end. I think it was great to cap it off with a recovery session with Vasek. Today we're going to be flying to Antalya for my next batch of tournaments between 2 and 3 weeks. Simon's going to be out there towards the end of the trip as well, so we'll get in some doubles. I'm super excited to take you guys along that journey with me. So stay tuned for the next video where I'm going to be preparing in Antalya and playing my first week of qualifying matches and hopefully doubles as well. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure that you like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.